a lot of group of people in the Philippines like dislike foreigners who come to the Philippines and create content.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I believe like creating content, you're boosting tourism, so it's beneficial. You can't say you're using it because it's, you know, it's a win-win for both. But there are a lot of foreign creators. There's like a new term for it, I think.
What is it?
It's called like Filipino baiting or something.
Oh, yes, Filipino baiting. Yes.
Anyways, I never looked at you as one of these Filipino baiters because a lot of foreigners come to the Philippines. They create Pinoy content and then that's it. And that's all they do. And that's how they survive. But there's very, very few foreigners that have come to the Philippines, done content, and then left, and then keep doing content in other countries and still manage to be successful. The only two I can think of off the top of my head are you and Christian LeBlanc. Like you, me, Christian LeBlanc all started at the same time together, and we started out around Asia and then blew up. We got a boost in the Philippines. Me way more than you guys because I'm half Filipino.
Because you're half Filipino, of
and
course.
I live most of my years in the Philippines. So
you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Yes, I'm not one of you foreigners. I'm only half of one of you guys. But yeah, you and LeBlanc came to the Philippines, and then you made your way and you went other places. You didn't just completely rely on the Philippines to create content.
Definitely.
And I think this is an important thing to say, because how many videos do you make in a year? Were you making in a year? I mean, when you're 365 videos. How many did you do in the Philippines?
20.
That's
crazy.
I'm
20,
not
30,
a mathematician, but that's
like 8%. 8-9%.
You can't rely on 8%. So
that's a good point. I think Nas Daily's mission is to highlight incredible stories from every country in the world. I started in Kenya. By the way, Nas Daily is huge in India. It's huge in the Middle East. It's also huge in Peru, right? But you just don't know about it, right? Because it's huge in Vietnam. 2% of the country of Vietnam follows Nas Daily. That's 2 million out of 100 million. So, our success we've been able to replicate in many countries around the world, in America, everywhere, because it's about taking stories of a country and highlighting it. If making a video about a Filipino is Filipino baiting, then what is the alternative? Let us hide the Philippines forever? The alternative is negative coverage on the Philippines every single day in the Western media. So that's why you actually do need video makers to come to the Philippines, foreigners, to balance the image of the Philippines. The way I look at Nas Daily is, I take all the content that is made by New York Times, Fox News, CNN, all these crappy vloggers who just want to promote negativity, and I say, okay, there's 1 million of these every day. I would just like to create 3 positive pieces of content. Why is that Pinoy baiting? Or why is that culture vulture? Why is that exploitation?
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, and that's the life of a content creator. If you make negative stuff about the Philippines, then you hate the Philippines and you're a horrible person. If you make good content about the Philippines, then you're using the Philippines. I'm just curious, have you seen this type of issue with other countries, or is it more just you have?
Of course, the Philippines is not unique in its controversies, I've seen it happen from other creators.
So there's I'm trying to think, like Kenya baiting or Australia baiting or stuff like that.
I don't think there's Australia baiting. Australians don't give a damn. I think there is these issues happen in like Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. Southeast Asia is very connected on social media. So you see a lot of content creators try to go to Southeast Asia. And by the way, like baiting is only bad if your intentions are bad. But if your intentions are good, if you genuinely care about the Philippines, if you genuinely follow news in the Philippines, if you genuinely think this country has an interesting culture, then by all means, put the Philippines in the thumbnail. Get that 1 million views. Like, why are we stigmatizing positive coverage when all these media talks shit about the Philippines and nobody says that's Pinoy baiting? Why is the opposite not happening? There is something called, if there's an explosion, I can go and make a video about that, terrorist attack, and I'll get 10 million views. That is actually taking something bad and making it worse. Imagine every time there's like an accident or a problem in the Philippines, I made that video about it. That's still Pinoy baiting, but negative Pinoy baiting. That's the only alternative. That's not good.
That's the thing. And you could say that in anywhere. Like if we go to the U.S. and I'm making
about Trump
content about anything in the U.S., American food and this or that. Is that American baiting?
That is American
something?
baiting.
It is.
American baiting is also Trump. Talk about Trump or talk about abortion.
Yeah.
Talk about Texas.
But see, even Filipinos Pinoy bait. Because there's people like one of my friends, he's an architect, but his catch thing is like Pinoy architect or Pinoy doctor. There's Pinoy lawyer reacts to this. So they do it as well.
Didn't Pinoy doctor talk about the Nas Daily thing?
He was not. No, he was a white guy.
He was some random ass white guy. He's like a doctor, right?
Yeah.
I was like, bro, you're a doctor? You have nothing to do with this. Get the hell out of here.
If you liked what you saw and you want to listen to the full episode, then download Spotify and follow us at SuperHuman with Will Dasovich. It's completely free, it's linked below and easy to use.